What is the number one worst mistake you can make in life that unfortunately so many people make? It's possible you're making this mistake and it's leading you down the wrong path. Although the good news is that it's never too late to change once you get the right information. The good news is most people don't know this, so you get a head start in the right direction. Welcome in, fam. Much love. Trav here. There's a lot of issues with our society. Don't get me wrong, now's an amazing time to be alive. We have so much opportunity. There's so much beauty around. There's like the food you can eat, the freedom that you can have through the internet, ability to travel is so cheap, ability to work online. There's lots of opportunity, right? But there's also lots of problems with society. I appreciate you, by the way, for being here. There's lots of problems with society. Our school system being one of the major ones, our food system, and a lot of our job and our job system is, kind of lacking. People can't express their humanness living indoors and all this shit. Anyways, so what is the biggest problem for you? What is the biggest mistake that you can make? And we're going to go a little bit deeper on this one. So what Joel Salatin, he's one of the farmer influences that got me into agriculture. He said the biggest mistake that you can make, this was really powerful for me. The biggest mistake you can make is getting good at the wrong thing. I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that. I think there's actually a bigger mistake that leads to that mistake. But the ramifications of that, getting good at the wrong thing, are you spend all your time going for the wrong goals, and then you end up with a skill set with a lifestyle you really don't like. You end up with the skill set of in the wrong industry, or you don't care about your stuff, you're too deep into it. That's tragic. And that's one of the reasons that I changed my career, changed my industry. At 27, I changed industry. My main time that I spend. I still dabble in competitive Magic the Gathering. I still have my coaching business, and it wasn't necessarily wrong for me to go as deep as I did into it. It afforded me a lot of opportunities to travel and explore and adventure, and gave me lots of freedom and helped me build my following, my audience, and all that. But it wasn't leading me towards the best lifestyle for me, where I was making the biggest difference and doing the most meaningful thing. If you're a Magic player, there's people in my coaching program. It's totally reasonable. You can see from my experience that it can be worth getting really good at. However, I had this feeling that despite all that, it wasn't fulfilling for me because it just didn't seem to matter too much. And I felt that I had that ringing in my ears for 2 years. Don't get too good at the wrong thing is the biggest mistake. So when I had the opportunity to switch, and I just knew, it was Joel Salatin, it was Tai Lopez, it was a couple other guys that got me interested in agriculture. Walked by a community garden volunteer. I said, this looks interesting, I'm a volunteer here. From that, got connected to a community volunteer farm, and then from there ended up making the move to doing this full time. And getting good at what I think is the right thing, or what really matters, is integrity food production. Obviously that matters a lot, and I also enjoy the lifestyle. So getting good at the right thing right now. Here, though, I think is what the deeper mistake is that people make that leads to this, is aiming for the wrong targets. I think that's the biggest mistake you can make, aiming for the wrong targets. If you aim for the wrong targets, you can hit your targets and you still fail, you still lose at life because you're aiming for the wrong targets, right? You have to shoot on the right hoop in order to score meaningful points. If you score on the wrong hoop, you're just scoring against yourself. You're scoring in the wrong goal, you're scoring against yourself. And too many people are doing that. So what's the wrong targets to aim for? Well, I guess a good place to start is what the right targets to aim for. So few people, it's so underrated. Like, the number one target to aim for is having good, happy, fulfilling individual days, right? You want to enjoy your time. You string off enough good days together, you have a good life. And then the deeper question would be, what would make good days? Okay, well, good days involve using your body and being in good health. That's important. You don't need a ton of money, but having enough money to spend on the things that you need that day, if that's food or getting around. Probably you'll enjoy working with the team, cracking jokes, being around people who have known you for a long period of time. You've known them for a long period of time. Good day probably actually does involve work, and involves feeling that that work is important. And it may involve love and intimacy. And there's not too much more than that that makes a good day. I mean, fun, depending on your personality, doing fun, novel stuff. There's a few other things you could throw in there that makes a good day, but having enough money, doing meaningful work, being healthy and getting to use your body and doing it around people that you love, there's not much more than it. So those are sub goals that are the right targets. I want meaningful work that pays me enough. I want to move my body and to feel good and fit. I want to work with people who I love, and I want that to add up to good individual days. Those are the right targets, right? And people, it's sad that so few people are aiming for those targets, because most of us are aiming for the wrong targets. I want 6-figure income. Yeah, but for what? That's a nice thing to have if it comes your way. It's nice to have 7-figure, 8-figure, whatever. But if you're getting good at the wrong thing and then you have the money, what is it for, right? What are you going to spend that on? And what are you going to spend your time on? If you don't have good individual days, the fuck's the point, right? So that's one wrong target. And don't get me wrong, it's not that money is bad. It's that it should be a byproduct of the other stuff. Another one would be, I want a certain appearance, to look a certain way. Well, you want to feel a certain way. Fuck how you look. That matters. Obviously, it helps. If you look good, you feel good. But forget appearance. It's more important that you have good feelings, that you feel good. It's not important that your days look good. It's important that your days are good to you, right? They may not look good from the outside because you might be digging in the dirt or doing some, working all day. But if you understand what it feels like to be happy. So another wrong target. So, the real targets are working with people that you love and playing with people that you love. A wrong target would be, I want 10,000 social media followers. I have that, and that's helpful and that's good, and I'm glad that I have it. But that's not the goal. That shouldn't be the goal, because you pursue that, you risk getting good at the wrong things, or pursuing a lifestyle that's not good, where you're making all this content and you're not enjoying it. And I see a lot of that. That's a fine byproduct. Again, if you part of having fulfilling work and working with the team is you're going to want to share it to a broader audience, and then followers will come with that. That's not mandatory. You can do that, but just having fame or having audience, that's not really a predictor or affect your happiness or your individual days, because it's not random people on the street or random people messaging you. That can be nice, but you want it to be your core group of people, your inner circle, your friends, your family, your team, and it's fucking irrelevant if you have how many followers you have for that, right? So there's other wrong targets of material things and material possessions, and I don't want to shit on all this stuff. Those things are fine when they come your way, but the good right targets, again, is just pretty simply having good individual days, loving people, working on stuff that's important, getting paid enough, being healthy. There isn't much more to that, and aiming for anything else and going super hard for anything else is probably a mistake. And you can take this, you can try it out yourself, take it from my experience. I went very far down, possibly the wrong path, and I got lucky because I was able to rise so high in it that it opened the door to the next lifestyle, which is better for me. But I could have gone straight to the next lifestyle to begin with, and I didn't have to spend 4 or 5 years after college doing that, right? So, aim for the right targets from the start. I was aiming for the wrong targets for a while, possibly reasonable post-college, I want to travel and explore and figure this shit out. That's reasonable, but if I had the correct information to begin with, I could have moved straight to the farm, agriculture, and started getting good at the right things out of high school and said, fuck college. And I would probably be further along and happier. And one of the reasons I would be happier is because if I had come out here and started doing that at 18, I would have been here for 10 years. I would know people for 10 years. They would know me for 10 years. My love relationships with friends, family, etc. would be deeper and better, as opposed to just making it out here a year ago. So Aim for the right target. Know what the right target is. If the other stuff comes your way, that's awesome. If it doesn't, then whatever. So I hope you find that helpful. I appreciate you. Would love to hear from you in the comments. Share down below what your life is, where you're going, what's lacking, if anything. If you've been aiming for the right or the wrong targets, would love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. Now I'm about to go get out of here. Got to do a little bit of business and then enjoy my Saturday. Feed the animals, do some yoga, swim in the ocean, and share this online, do some meaningful work online, and get my body and my mind get prepared as well for next week. Plant some trees. So it's gonna be good time. Appreciate you all, and let me know what you have to say in the comments down below. I read every comment, so thank you and take care.